Welcome in, everybody. We're gonna get started in just a second. My funny enough, which I mean, it's not stopping us from using it, but my ring light, for some reason, the piece broke off the top. So I'm using my to go stand, and we're in front of the window today. So if I look like I'm squinting, obviously it's because the sun is in my eyes, but we're doing good. I love to have the sun on my skin, even through the window, so we'll be all right. But hello, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. We're going to be diving into a powerful topic and conversation today. Obviously, as you can see by the title here on TikTok, we're going to be talking about toxic habits, inflammation, and the diabetes crisis that's going on right now. And then we're going to lead to the solution of taking back our health and understanding how we get there and how we do that. So I want everybody to be able to get the information that wants that information and needs it. If you have somebody in your life that is suffering from inflammation or diabetes that you know will not only be supported by this live, but also all the content that I post on my page, please share this with them. Share the live, share my account. Share my other social medias just in case they take TikTok away, which I'm very hopeful that they won't, but just in case they do, make sure you're following me on all my other socials. I do post every single live on YouTube, so if you have missed a live or you can't stay for the full entirety of this live, it will be posted on YouTube. Go subscribe, go check out my past lives, check out my playlist. But like I said, we're diving today into a personal, powerful topic that needs to be talked about for 2025 and so on, because it's only getting worse because we're not dealing with the issue. So we are talking about specifically toxicity and what it leads us to. And not only just outside of the realm of what everybody thinks of toxicity of relationships and people, but actually getting to the issue of toxic habits that we have towards ourselves, right? And a lot of us don't think of toxicity that way because we sit here and we say that, like, oh, I'm not toxic, oh, I don't have toxic habits. But when you look at what you have towards yourself when it comes to the things that you eat, the products that you use, they are toxic habits. If you sit here and eat processed foods that you know are inflammatory, that's a toxic habit. If you eat sugar knowing that it throws off your hormone balance, that's a toxic habit. If you sit here and consume dairy on a regular basis and meat on a regular basis, knowing that it causes inflammation in your body, that's a toxic habit. So you are toxic in a way because you're literally filling your body with toxicity. And a lot of people don't realize that because we so focused in on everybody else's toxicity that we don't even focus on our own toxic habits. And so that's going to burst a lot of people's bubbles, and they don't understand, or they don't really put two and two together in the toxicity realm because everybody focuses in on everybody else's toxicity. Thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate it. And so when you realize that internally you are toxic because of the habits that you have, you're realizing that you are slowly destroying not only your own health, but also breaking down your body to the point where you're going to unalive. And so when you realize that toxicity is literally, by definition of looking at what toxicity is a slow poison, you'll realize that you've been slowly poisoning yourself. So those little toxic relationships and people in your life that you cut off, that you're like, yeah, they're toxic, they make me sick, I don't want to deal with them, whatever else, you have to realize that you need to cut out those toxic habits too. Because that same feeling that you have towards that person that makes you feel uncomfortable, they make you feel that slow poison, you're not realizing the slow poison you've been doing to yourself for years. That same feeling that you have when that person is so toxic and negative and the energy is there, that's what you're putting inside of your body with those toxic habits that you have. And that's going to sit there and destroy a lot of people's concept of toxicity and make them uncomfortable. And that's okay. I'm here to make you uncomfortable if you haven't been to the space of making yourself uncomfortable with realizing that you're not taking care of your health. So uncovering these toxic habits, if you don't do this, is going to lead you to having inflammation. But as you start to uncover these toxic habits and you realize where you've been at, you realize that not only have you been leading yourself down a path of having insulin resistance, and as well as the past generations have led themselves there, but you're also realizing that this is the reason why diabetes is rapidly rising in our society the way that it is. You realize that very, very quickly how diabetes is affecting our society and the reason why it's affecting our society. Thank you guys so much for the gifts and the likes. I see you. I really, really appreciate it. The world is suffering, and this is not only should be a wake-up call, but this is the point where it's either going to make or break us. And at the point where we are at, it's breaking us. When you look at society and you see how we're suffering, it's breaking us. We're completely addicted to sugar. We don't get active enough. We're also sitting here dealing with a whole bunch of load of inflammation because of the foods that we eat, besides just sugar alone, because we don't even realize the fact that when you're eating a carb, you need a stabilizer. So we don't stabilize ourselves, which makes an insulin spike, which throws off our hormones, which leads us to having insulin resistance, and then eventually leads us to having diabetes. So it's an endless cycle of us not taking care of our health and daily choosing these choices of not having enough energy, not giving ourselves a quality of life, not impacting our health in a positive way. This is an endless cycle that we choose daily. And yes, you don't sit back and be like, oh, okay, well, I decide that I'm not going to take care of my health today. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. But when you sit here and you know that, okay, you have a sugar addiction because you literally crave sugar every single day. So you shouldn't be sitting there feeding the addiction, but rather figuring out how to get rid of it. And you don't do that, that's feeding the toxicity in your body. When you sit here and know that you need to cleanse and you need to detox because you're full of parasites, but you don't do anything about it, that's you sitting there in the negativity and the toxicity. That's a toxic habit. When you sit here and know that you wake up every single day fatigued with no energy, you have a low quality of life because you literally feel like you can't make it through the day and you do nothing about it, that's you choosing to stay in this space full of toxicity. That's a terrible habit. That's a terrible space to stay in. Why would you keep doing that? Majority of people do that because they don't realize and they don't understand toxicity and inflammation. They don't understand how they go hand in hand. Because when you are sitting here in this toxic space of what you consume and what you use on your body, it leads not only to external factors, but also internal factors. When you consume heavily toxic foods like processed foods, sugary foods, unhealthy fats, and even the foods that have a whole bunch of chemicals added in them, this is going to cause you to have issues internally. And chemicals are more than just the chemicals in your food. Think about your skincare products. Think about the chemicals that you use to clean your home. These are all hormone disruptors. Your skin absorbs anything that you come in contact and put on your skin within 24 seconds. So think about how within 24 seconds of you using that bleach, you using that CeraVe, Clean and Clear, all those cleansers and different things that you put on your skin that you don't read the instructions, or you don't read the ingredients, Think about how all of these lead to inflammation, and you're putting this on your body daily. You're eating these foods daily. Inflammation is your body's defense to tell you, hey, something is going on, something is wrong, and there's a whole complete imbalance, so now I'm going haywire. You don't realize that inflammation is caused because you have an overload of toxins that cannot be released. Thank you so much for these gifts. I really appreciate it. So when you have chronic inflammation, that is a sign to tell you that you have been built up with toxins for years. Toxins store inside of your fat cells. So the heavier you are, the more fat that you have, which stores in these different places for a reason. If you don't know why they store in different places, we're going to break down certain places in a minute. They store in these places because they don't want to go to your vital organs. So they sit here and they store in your fat cells in order for you to be protected from these toxins and hopefully maybe use them one day when your body knows that it can't use them, because this is not a vitamin, a mineral, something they can actually use and produce energy from. And so now it starts to build on more fat in these pockets. So for instance, when you have hormonal imbalance, a lot of women know this because we suffer from this. You have a hard time losing fat around your lower belly area. You also get fat around your arm area, your face, and your legs, right? These are non-vital areas when your body is viewing, where can I put toxins that can last longer, versus me putting it towards your heart, which will make you unalive, putting it towards your liver, which you need, your pancreas, because all of these are vital key things that you need to be alive, because if one of them fails, everything else is going to fail, right? So it says, well, you know what? I can put it in your lower belly. Yes, you're going to have reproductive issues, but at the end of the day, it's going to hurt. You're going to suffer, but you're not going to unalive. Yes, I can put it in your arms and your legs. You're not going to unalive there. But as toxins store, you build on more fat and it has nowhere else to go. This is when you start to develop issues like fatty liver, kidney disease, you having heart disease, because now the toxins are starting to attack those vital organs because it has nowhere else to go. This is when you start to have all of that brain fog and fatigue, and you feel like you have no mental clarity because now all the toxins are literally attacking you from the inside out because you're doing nothing to help them expel themselves. So this whole issue of us not linking chronic inflammation causing insulin resistance as well as all these other issues to toxicity is causing us to sit here in this space of not being healthy. Your cells, when you become insulin resistant, stop responding to insulin. If you do not know that, that's how you become insulin resistant. So eventually to the point where you don't deal with that insulin spike that you're having from your blood sugar being spiked by the terrible habits that you have towards food, your body makes it, and you make it harder, on your body to regulate its blood sugar, which in return causes your cells to stop responding to sugar. So at this point, this is the onset of you developing type 2 diabetes. And then once you have type 2 diabetes, you experience either before or during this experience of you having type 2 diabetes, weight gain, different other chronic illnesses. You start to have mental fog, fatigue. You eventually can lead yourself to type 3 when you don't deal with it to heal it, but you just keep managing. And if you don't know this, type 3, even though they say it can't be directly correlated and linked, they say it's more likely for you when you have type 3 diabetes to develop Alzheimer's. It's more likely if you consume sugar that you have, I think, a raise of 10% to 12% more chance of you having Alzheimer's in your lifetime if you consume terrible toxic processed sugars. And do you understand why? Because your brain literally goes haywire on sugar. Your brain goes crazy. Your brain literally loses itself all in sugar because sugar not only throws off your dopamine response because that is your happy hormone, but it also throws off other hormonal balances because you literally are going haywire and becoming addicted. It's just like fiends on the side of the street. You're literally throwing off your chemical balance to the point where you're addicted and you don't even realize the signs to let you know, one, you're insulin resistant, and two, that you're addicted. And people want to sit there and they'll say, oh, I know that I have a sugar addiction, but then they do nothing about it. That's the same thing as the fiend on the side of the street. Like, you really have to break that down. And it's so alarming, not only the statistics, but the current health crisis that we're in, that the officials literally have said that talk about the American Diabetes Association. I think that's who I read this quote from, because it was either a health association or it was a diabetes association themselves, was talking about how we are in such a terrible health crisis currently in the way that it's shifting and going, that there is nothing that they can do. The only people that can deal with this health crisis that we have when it comes to diabetes is you directly dealing with it in your home first. They know that you're not healing and helping yourself when you take insulin. They know once you get diagnosed, all you're doing is managing to the point where your body is breaking itself down and then eventually leaving this earth or developing Alzheimer's or something like that, having a stroke, because it's some sort of dementia that's going to attack your body. Over 90 million people in the US alone right now are dealing with insulin resistance, and about half of them, if not more than half, don't even realize that they're insulin resistant. Diabetes affects more than 37 million Americans alone, and at least 96 million people are dealing with prediabetes symptoms. Thank you for these follows and these likes. I really appreciate it. So when you look at that statistic and you break that down, every 3 adults that you count, so 1, 2, 3, out of every 3 of them, one of them is insulin resistant. Out of every 3 that you count, one of them is insulin resistant. That is a national crisis. And like they said, there's nothing that they can do about it, because if they took all the sugar off your shelves right now and told you it's a national crisis, we're trying to take care of you, what would happen? There would be riots, because people have literally thrown off their chemical balance to the point where they cannot go a day or 2 without sugar. They couldn't imagine going a week without sugar. They would literally go crazy over sugar. Thank you for the gifts. I really, truly appreciate it. And the likes, I see you guys. So really break that down and think about that they told you that you have to deal with it in your home. And they're not telling you on the news and broadcasting and letting you know it's a national crisis. This is something you have to deal with in your home. But rather, they're keeping it hush-hush. And do you know why they're keeping it hush-hush? Because by 2030, they are projecting, and this is statistics, they're projecting, because they already projected by 2020, we exceeded the goal that they were, because it's a goal, honestly. It's not just a projection, it's a goal. We exceeded that projection and goal that they had for 2020 of where diabetes was going to be in insulin resistance. So now by 2030, they're projecting that they're going to make in the health industry $1 trillion profit off of people being insulin resistant and diabetic alone. And overweight. I forgot about that. They're projecting to make $1 trillion profit in that space, in that margin. That is just being overweight, insulin resistant, and diabetic alone. That's not including all the other chronic illnesses that not only are tied to you developing diabetes or pre-diabetic symptoms, but also all the other chronic illnesses as cancer and such that go along with you having an overload of toxins. Diabetes is not just a health crisis to everybody, but also a financial crisis, because when you think about the fact that they're going to make $1 trillion profit off of people and they're not making it national news, they're not cutting out all this toxic processed sugar, they're not making new laws against this toxic sugar. People who deal with diabetes and they have to, on average, go to the doctor like a normal annual not an annual, I'm trying to think, a normal space and time that people have to go to get their insulin, get their checkups, and all the different things when they develop diabetes and all the things that tie along with it. They spend over $16,000 a year. Can you only imagine when insurance is changing the way that they cover people and you're already paying $16,000 a year, how that number is going to double, if not triple itself, as well as the fact that they're going to stop covering your insulin. So now you have to pay out of pocket for insulin. They're going to stop covering all these different things with you getting surgeries or you getting checkups or whatever else. They're going to start charging more for premiums, whatever that they change. Can you imagine that $16,000 going double or triple? Because that's the projection that they're having. If they're going to make $1 trillion profit and we're only in right now like the millions, can you only imagine bumping it all the way up to the trillions? Because they're projecting with not only this spike of income, this spike of all the money going up and not having enough value, but also having the issue of the spike of people not realizing that they're pre-diabetic or they're insulin resistant and then developing diabetes by 2030. This is the full agenda. I just painted it and mapped it out to you right here and right now. This is the full agenda that they have towards your health in just that space alone. That's not including all the other chronic illnesses and diseases. You are burdening not only your life, but you're also burdening yourself later on when it comes to you having your time, your quality of life, because you're spending your money. You're spending your time here in and out of doctor's offices. You're having to sit here and manage your life around a shot or a pill or whatever else when you could learn how to heal yourself. But majority of you don't even know what's happening inside of your body. You don't understand the damage that is happening inside of your body. So let me break down the damage that is happening inside of your body because you're doing nothing, right? So let's talk about organ damage and the cycle of insulin resistance and what it had, the impact that it has on side of your body. So inside of your body, when your liver and your pancreas are working at the current rate that it is right now, when you are dealing with all the toxic foods that you have, the toxic habits that you have, it's overworking itself, right? It's trying to regulate your blood sugar and it's trying to save you from unaliving. And this is causing damage. This is causing your organs to work overtime. Your kidneys are being strained because this is how you filter your blood. Your kidneys filter your blood, right? So you filter your blood because you don't need excess glucose. The excess glucose is going to cause a number of different issues, but you should be using glucose in a normal amount to convert into energy. People aren't doing that anymore. And that's the reason why you're so fatigued. That's the reason why you're so mentally tired. You wake up tired, even though you slept 10 plus hours. Not only is your kidney, your liver, your pancreas being affected, but do you also know that your gut is being thrown off? Because not only when you eat these different things like gluten and things like that, it leaves holes in your gut, but you're throwing off your hormone balance. And these imbalances are going to throw off your gut's microbiome. This microbiome is literally how you break down food inside of your digestive tract. This is how you get food broken down enough to convert it into different things. Use the vitamins, use the minerals, use it as energy. This is going to be a fueling space for inflammation inside of your body, which is also going to worsen your insulin resistance. Do you see how your body is a full system that needs to be supported completely round, inside and out, and people are not doing it? Because right then and there, we just covered your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, and your gut. There are 4 vital things, and that's not even including your heart, because all of these are going to impact your heart because they're throwing off your hormones. So if you do not know the signs of insulin resistance are you having fatigue, you having increased sugar cravings, and to the point where now you're sitting here fiending for some sugar and you're upset because you have no sugar in your access. You're having unexplained weight gain, especially around in the belly area. These are signs of inflammation and insulin resistance. You having brain fog, difficulty concentrating, difficulty remembering. You sitting here having different dark patches on your face, dark patches on your skin in general, around your neck, your underarms, your inner thighs. You developing skin tags out of nowhere. That's not a hereditary thing. That's a sign of insulin resistance. Because it literally talks about how it's a overload of melanin that starts to produce in a sign in a form of inflammation. If you do not know that, that's literally a breakdown of why people develop skin tags. They try to tell you it runs in your family, and that's what we go with, but they don't tell you the fact that the reason why is an overload of melanin that is a repercussion of you having overload of inflammation inside of your body. So it's showing itself in skin tags. High blood pressure, high cholesterol levels. These are signs of insulin resistance. So I saw somebody's comment. Hold on, let me go to the comment and read it. And if it's a question, I'll answer it at the end. If you guys have questions, I will be answering it. I was there, but you're right, plant-based. Oh, facts. Absolutely. Yes. As we get along. So breaking the cycle. Let's talk about how are we going to break the cycle, right? It's not just from carbs, but you're on the right track. It's not just from that. And this whole live, I've been talking about the plethora of how you develop that. If you missed that already, this will be posted on YouTube later on. I post all my past lives. I broke down completely. So I cover fully. I don't cover just one aspect because I want you to be able to heal in an entirety. So I break down the connection of how your entire body is being affected. Not from one space, not from one food specifically, but rather understanding completely and how to flush. I still eat carbs to this day and I'm not full of inflammation. But I know how to eat carbs effectively and correctly because carbs are not the problem. The problem is the fact that people don't have stabilizers. That's the issue. That's the problem. And people don't realize that. And that's why I break that down in my Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook, is because people go just off of what we learned in the 90s all the way up into the early 2000s of the food pyramid and the My Plate and how they told us carbs were so bad, get away from carbs, but eat your dairy, eat your meat, eat this and that. And then they throw that in your face. And now here they are coming back and telling you, let's revamp that. Let's change it because that's not right. And they didn't even break down the fact that you have no stabilizers in these foods as they give you, as well as the fact that they don't even sit there and tell you that meat is inflammatory and carcinogenic until they get to the point where it's enough people unalive from it. They don't tell you that dairy is inflamed, and the only reason why they start suggesting dairy to people is because they sat there and they told these farmers to produce more dairy to be able to give powdered milk to the people at war. And then when the Civil War ended, now they didn't need all the powdered milk. So what did they start doing to pay the farmers? They started giving it to the everyday people. They started marketing it to the everyday mother as something to make a quick, fast, easy way for you to have milk. So you don't have to go out and milk your cows anymore. Go to the grocery store and get some milk. They started sitting here poisoning us slowly, each generation after generation. And now here we are, millions of people not understanding what inflammation is, millions of people not understanding the signs of insulin resistance, millions of people fearing different things like salt and carbs, but don't fear meat and don't fear dairy. Sitting here worrying about different things of doing a parasite cleanse with a tincture, but they don't even know that you have to use food as a medicine first. Thanks to the follows. I really appreciate it. Whatever food that you crave and that you love can be made in a plant-based form. I have been plant-based for 4 years now. Not only am I not lacking in food, but I don't sit here and be like, oh, I miss this meat so much. And you know why? Because you can make it. You can make it. It's not possible. I mean, it's not impossible. Inflammation is terrible, and they feed you a whole bunch of inflammatory foods all your life and then sit there and tell you, hey, now that you have this disease or this illness, manage it with a pill, manage it with a surgery. This is how you help yourself heal. Thank you for the gifts. I really, really appreciate it. I'm here to educate you. You stick along, we're going to help you be able to get rid of all of the issues that you're having going on internally and heal internally and externally, as well as understand how to make plant-based meals, because it's possible. It can be simplified. Your life should be more important to you. And that's how I felt and the reason why I changed. So let's talk about breaking the cycle. This is the breaking the cycle. Understanding how to break the cycle. Your body can heal itself. If you do not know this, your body is a healing vessel. You should know this, but we are not taught this. Your body is a healing vessel. Your body is a healing mechanism. Your body heals itself from the inside out. When you stop blocking it, it heals itself. When you release that block, it will heal itself. So it starts with what you're putting inside of your body and on your body. So you have to look at your habits that you have. Are you using food as your medicine currently? Majority of you not. Food is something that can be an anti-inflammatory. It can be more than just anti-inflammatory. Honestly, it's a system to anti-inflammatory. It's a system for flushing. It's a system to reset. Because at the end of the day, even though fasting is something that you need in your life, you should be fasting on a regular. If you do not fast on a regular and you don't know how to do it effectively where you're not starving all day, I do have a cleansing guide that is going to show you how to do that. But fasting is only going to get you to part of the way, because I started fasting in 2020 before I even went plant-based, right? It's not going to get you the full transformation that you need and that you deserve, because fasting is only getting you partially there. You can fast for days on end and then get fully flushed, but then put all the toxins back, feed the parasites. If you are using food as your medicine in coherence, that's the word I'm thinking of, in coherence of you also using food as your medicine and fasting and flushing, this is how you help your body heal. This is how you help yourself release. I never recommend to anybody that is coming from a space of they have a bunch of different illnesses and diseases going on inside of their body to completely cut off cold turkey, fast, don't do this and don't do this. We start finding replacements. This is how you help yourself and support yourself, and not only feeling comfortable in this space, not starving during this process, but also getting that help that you need to balance. Because you have to have balance and a stable foundation for you to build off of, right? We know this. When you build a home, you have to have a stable foundation for the home to be built correctly. That's the same thing with you to establish your plant-based lifestyle and your journey and to feel comfortable. You have to have a stable foundation. And so that's what I teach you, whether you book a one-on-one with me and you get that past masterclass replay with that, which is a bundle. You get that all. You can check that out in my bio. Or you work with me in a program, which I walk you step by step for 3 months on how to live a plant-based lifestyle so you can sustain that and make medicine, make food and different things like that. Because you want to start feeling like, if you haven't felt like this before, or if you have felt this, you want to feel that balance and see how your body transforms and heals itself so that you feel like yourself again. And if you've never felt that in your life, you want to experience that for the first time. Because I was in a space of feeling like that, but I wasn't comfortable because I was working out twice a day. On top of that, I was doing a starvation diet. So in that moment, I felt good because I looked good. I was getting slimmer, right? My knees stopped hurting because I was slimming down. But I didn't feel good as far as the process that I was going through because I was hungry. I was starving. Honestly, I was tired through that process, but it felt good to look better. And then as soon as I stopped, all of the crap came back. The weight gain came back. I had knee pain again. I was suffering from all these different issues with my body, as far as like acne, different things like that, an overload of yeast. So I was having all of these issues, literally, to the point where I was like, wow, I'm never going to be able to lose weight. And that was my mindset, right? I'm never going to be able to be healthy. And I stuck with that mindset for forever. And I was like, I have to starve myself in order for me to be healthy, which is insane. After 2020 of me doing all of that research and me going plant-based in 2021, I realized very quickly, I don't have to starve and do diet culture for me to be healthy. Diet culture is the problem. Thank you so much for the gifts. I really appreciate it. Diet culture is the problem. And a lot of people don't realize that diet culture is the problem because this is what's trained in our brain. You do a diet because you want to look good for this wedding. You do a diet because you're going on vacation. You do a diet because it's prom time. You do a diet because you know that you gained so much weight. You do keto, you do paleo, you do Weight Watchers, you do Jenny Craig, right? But you don't realize is diet culture does not set you up to have healthy habits that are going to support you. Diet culture is keeping you in this cycle of endlessly imbalancing. Okay, 1 minute you're gonna eat healthy. Next minute you're gonna go back to your old habits. 1 minute I'm gonna cut out sugar. Next minute I'm gonna go back to the terrible habits. And you're not establishing healthier ones by realizing that there are natural sugars that can allow you to be able to eat these snacks that you like. Bake cakes, bake cookies, bake cakes, pies, whatever else that you wanna make. Bake brownies. And not make yourself completely toxic and poisonous. And then also on top of that, you're going to get the nutrients inside of it. So you're not going to be sitting here eating 30 things of brownies and still starving. You're not going to be eating a whole bag of chips and still starving. Like, there are different things that you can eat and incorporate in your life to be able to still enjoy your snacks, but also be full so you don't overload and overeat. And that's the imbalance that people don't understand. The reason why society is so big right now, like, let's really talk about it. We want to talk about the fact that, like, oh, all these children are huge. The reason why society is so big and overeats is not because we're all lazy and we don't do anything. It's because we don't get enough nutrients. We don't get enough healthy fats. We don't get enough fiber, and we don't get enough natural sugars and natural flushing that allows our bodies to not be overloaded. So these people out here, majority of them are not actually fat. They're just loaded up with a bunch of crap. And by crap, I mean literal doo-doo. Like, people don't realize that, because you need healthy fiber and healthy fat for you to be flushing and going to the bathroom on a regular. And so when you don't have enough fiber like America doesn't, you get loaded up with a bunch of doo-doo. Like, yo-yo dieting is a cause of a lot of different issues that people don't realize. A lot of different issues. And I talked about this a while ago, and somebody would try to get offended. And I was like, you're not going to take away from the message because you're mad that I spoke the truth. A lot of these autism cases are out here because you give your child a bunch of inflammatory foods. Autism is an inflammation disease. I have worked with kids with autism. I have worked with kids of all walks of life. I have worked from literally infant age all the way up, not newborn, but I want to say, well, I've worked with newborns, not worked with them in a professional setting, but I've worked with in a professional setting from 6 months all the way up to I've worked to 19-year-olds, okay? That is an inflammation disease, because I have seen parents who realize and they accept the fact that their child has autism, and they build them up with the habits that they need by giving them a healthy lifestyle. And then the parents that just cope with it by giving their child whatever that they want and they cry about. And then guess what happens? That child develops more temperaments. That child develops more issues. They develop learning developmental issues. All of those start to stem off of the food that they eat. The days that the children that have autism have the worst days are usually when their parents feed them a bunch of crap. And I said this not in a kind, nice way to a parent beforehand to let them know, like, I've noticed a difference when your child eats this versus when they eat a meal. And even though they're feeding them, when I was feeding them at school, because I have no control over that, they were eating meat and they were eating dairy. I saw the difference between giving them Nutri-Grain bars, giving them Chex Mix, giving them all of these, like, rice cakes are a good snack for kids. Even though rice is not good, that's a good snack. I see the difference between them giving them those unhealthy snacks that are full of BHT and all these different inflammatory foods versus them giving them something simplified. I see the difference. They give them fruit in a rice cake versus them getting them Chex Mix and all this other crap. And I see the difference throughout the day of how they react, how they act. That's inflammation. And so a lot of people don't realize that, and they don't see the change that needs to happen. But the ones that do, they realize very quickly, even when that sliver of something that their child doesn't need, and when they have autism or anything like that, as far as developmental issues, they give them that. They see how it literally throws them off for the rest of the day. And then there's parents out here diagnosing their child with ADD and ADHD and sitting here talking about how they never sit down, but they also never give them any foods that don't give them literally that hypertension. That's the difference, because when you give your child fruits and vegetables, natural fruits with natural sugar, they're not going to get that sugar spike that makes them literally not be able to sit down and throw off their wiring. But when you give them fruits that flush them and give them natural sugars, it rewires their brain to get them to calm down and to realize that, yes, I have energy, but I'm not going to use it in a negative space. There's a difference, because when you throw off their hormone balance and it makes them have to sit here and have that hypertension, they have nowhere to put that energy and their brain has no way to balance itself. But when you give it the natural things that it needs, it balances itself. It calms them down. It allows them to be able to actually have those moments of recognition when an adult is talking to them, because I don't know if you've ever talked to a child that has been fed red dye, yellow dye, blue dye, and all that other crap that throws off your hormones. You can talk to them and they hear nothing that you're saying. Nothing. It goes in one ear and out the other. They don't know how to sit down. They won't be able to do anything. But when you give them natural sugars that don't throw off all their hormones and their balance, they can sit there and catch themselves and be like, oh, okay, I'm doing too much. I might still go out and play because they're kids, but they're not going to do the most. I've witnessed this in person with family members and in a professional setting. I'm not saying this because I'm new to this. I am true to this. I'm telling you. It's about the foods that you eat. When you need change, you have to start eliminating processed sugars, processed foods, and harmful oils. You have to cut out this meat, cut out this dairy, because all of this is causing inflammation. Incorporating anti-inflammatory foods, I couldn't get it out, like leafy greens, berries, turmeric, making sure you're getting your omega-3s, B12, can all happen in a plant-based form. People love to freak out and think they're not going to get enough protein, they're not going to get B12, they're not going to get all of these different things. You can get everything that you need from a plant-based form, because when you break down and you sit there and you think about it, people will sit there and they'll stop eating meat for years. If I were to go back and to eat meat, I would get sick. Those people get sick, right? When you go strictly to fruits and vegetables only alone and you don't eat anything else, you don't get sick once you go back to eating only fruits and vegetables. You only get sick when you go to eating meat after you haven't eaten meat for a while, right? I scrolled on this. Hold on, let me figure out where my notes were so I don't lose my place. Okay, there we go. You don't get sick when you go to only fruits and vegetables if you want to cleanse, if you want to flush. But you get sick when you flop back and you want to eat meat, when you want to consume dairy. We literally have a gene inside of our body that made us tolerant to lactate, to dairy. That should be your key sign in to tell you we weren't designed to do these things. Yes, evolution's going to help us along, but evolution doesn't mean that it's right. Like, let's really sit there and think about it. Evolving to be able to adapt to this environment does not mean it's right. Just because people live in caves and adapt to being in the dark all the time does not mean they need to be in the dark all the time, because the sun has vital, I'm trying to think of benefits. That's what I'm thinking of, has benefits, right? Doesn't mean you should just go down under the ground and be like, you know what, I'm going to live in this tunnel because other people do it. Just because your body adapts does not mean it's right. Just because your body adapts to you eating meat does not mean it's right. Because when you develop all these different issues of IBS and when you have all these different inflammatory issues in your gut, what happens when you eat certain meats? It throws you off. What happens when you start consuming dairy? It makes you sick. So just because your body adapts does not make it okay and right for your body, does not make it something that you need to consume on a regular basis. So understand that not only is the foods that you eat and you should be using food as your medicine, but you also have to stop cleaning and using toxic products. You must use clean, non-toxic products. Whether you find a reputable source that you can use that is a company that is not going to change their formula or sell out, or you can start making them for yourself at home. Thank you so much for these gifts and these follows, because I'm telling you, I started making my own non-toxic products over 3 years ago, and it is simple. It's not difficult, and you save more money. And I'm going to say that again, and you save more money. Because you're sitting there thinking like this is going to be so costly, it's going to be hard to transition, to shift, and it's not. It can be simplified, and it will be simplified if you start the process of simplifying it for yourself. If you want to learn how to simplify it for yourself, like I said, you need to come work with me in my program that I break it down completely for you. And you can get a Klarna Affirma Afterpay, because paying $16,000 a year on diabetes alone is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so that's the reason why I created my Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook. I want you to be able to eat away the diseases that you have and see that you don't have to starve in order for you to heal. You can still eat the foods that you love, but in a plant-based form, and learn how to make them. That is a cookbook, but it's not only just a collection of recipes, but it's also literally a roadmap to healing. It's breaking down A1C, it's breaking down insulin resistance, it's breaking it down diet culture, giving you the entirety of how to eat a rainbow plate, giving you the breakdown of all of that, understanding and self-evaluating what habits that you've had that have led you here, your cravings, sugar cravings, things like that. And then giving you recipes and a bonus section That book is over 100 pages. It's over 100 pages. And you can get it with Klarna Affirmer Afterpay. It is not just a recipe book, but it literally gives you the tools of using food as your medicine. My book is linked in my bio. It's called Eating Away Diabetes. It's literally a balance of hormones and taking control of your health so that you learn how to not only prepare and prep proper meals that are going to give you that complete balance, but also allow your body to start that natural healing process. Because this healthcare system is not going to save you. So don't sit here and think that you're going to depend on the healthcare system and it's going to get better because we're advancing and all these different things that you believe that's going to happen. Because as the healthcare industry is advancing, they're plotting on how much money they can make, and they're plotting on your health to get worse and decline because you're not changing any habits. Thank you so much for the follows. I really appreciate you guys. So if you want that copy of that book, like I said, before I hop off, I want to take questions, but the link is in my bio. Let me check and see what you guys have been talking about in the comments. And if you missed this live of us talking about toxicity, inflammation, insulin resistance, talking about the roadmap to healing, like I said, all my past lives are posted on YouTube. So you can go check out the full live. It will be posted next week because I think I have all the videos scheduled for this week. But if not, it will be posted on Thursday if it's not. Hello, hi, peace and love. How are you doing? You said, how do I feel about soy? I do not consume it, nor do I recommend it. That is not in my plant-based cookbook at all. There is no soy. There is no inflammatory oils in there. The only thing that's in there that has an inflammatory oil is I have one suggestion of, it's an option for you to use a sausage that you can get at your local grocery store. And it's just to give you a variety for you to be able to enjoy meals, because this is something that you're not going to eat every single day, but it's something that it gives you that nostalgic feel, that gives you that feel good of this is familiar, because I grew up eating these recipes, and so I remade them into a plant-based form, as well as making some new different ones that like I never made before I went plant-based, and decided, you know what, I want to try making it, and it turned out better than what it did when I was eating meat and dairy. You said dairy and meat causes inflammatory in the body for sure. Exactly. Higher power athletics. I don't know exactly what you meant by your comment. I'm assuming you were trying to be smart or troll. So I'm going to read it out loud so you can have your 5 minutes of fame like you wanted. He said, I want to guess you're on the fiber selling train too. I don't know what I'm selling as far as fiber, but for everybody that's been in here for this whole time, what fiber did I try to sell you on? If they're still in here, I would love to know more clarity. What fiber did I try to sell you guys on? Because I talked about the fact that you need healthy fats, fiber. Yes, you have to have fiber to go to the bathroom, not fake fiber, because there's a difference between the fake fiber that they put in your food, which they add in these Fiber One bars, or the added fiber that they love to put on the box and say, I added fiber to help you go to the bathroom. No, I'm talking about the natural fiber that your body produces itself, that should be coming from vegetables, should be coming from fruits. That's the fiber I talk about. I'm never selling any products. I'm not never selling any tinctures, any medications, any pills. I'm not selling you that stuff because you don't need it. They're selling you these things as temporary band-aids to not only make themselves profit, but also make profit from these companies that give all these little gurus that are holistic health gurus something to be like, oh, you have an affiliate program. Here you go. Get a 10% commission. I don't want that. I want you to heal. That's the difference. I want you to heal. They tell you that soy is a good protein source for you to be able to eat, but they don't tell you that soy throws off your hormonal balance because it literally puts in fake estrogen. Because plants have phytoestrogen. We have the natural estrogen inside of our body. Plants that produce soy have phytoestrogen, right? So this phytoestrogen that you're going to get from this soy plant, and there's also phytoestrogen in one herb that I just found out, and I can't remember, I think it's milk thistle. I found that out as well. This is going to give you fake estrogen inside of your body. This fake estrogen is going to cause your natural estrogen to raise itself naturally from its normal levels to fight off the fake estrogen. This is why I do not promote soy, because if you have an overload of estrogen inside of your body, this is how you develop cancer. When you have an overload of estrogen inside of your body trying to fight off the fake estrogen, this is going to cause issues in women like fibroids, cysts, PCOS, endometriosis. It's also going to cause you to having IBS. In men, it's going to cause issues with fertility, sperm count, different things like that. Fertility in women, sperm count in men. So I do not promote soy, and I will tell everybody the same thing. When you are suggested soy, you need to run away from them because they're following old studies. That's why I said that people love to talk about how that has been debunked, that they said the soy doesn't have any issues with the body and the hormones. But when you look at all the new studies that are outside of the US and not the old studies that they've done in the US, you see that as they do more studies into soy, they see how it's usually more likely than not only do they have an overload of estrogen, but they also start to develop estrogen dominance because all of them have an overload because it adds more estrogen. But the estrogen dominance is coming in and causing issues with your balance inside of your body, which causes you to develop eventually cancer because that blocks your lymphatic system. When you have an overload of estrogen, this is the reason why for men and women you can develop breast cancer because that's an overload of estrogen. That's an issue that makes you develop more issues, reproductive cancers. That's not okay. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So that's why I say that, like, even when doctors suggest to you, you should take soy, or if somebody's a holistic health coach and they're telling you should take soy, ask them about phytoestrogens. And if they say that it has no effect, I promise you they've never dealt with any issues with painful menstrual cycles. And if they're a man, they definitely have it. And they don't realize what it's impacting their body on what level. Because I was someone who was having painful menstrual cycles. I was also eating soy at the time. I was eating processed sugars. And when I cut out all the other crap minus soy and kept consuming soy, I was still having the issue of painful menstrual cycles. The only time that I saw a difference was when I cut out soy. Now, I'm not saying that I completely avoid all soy because sometimes, like for instance, there are vegan A's. Vegan A's, when you go to different plant-based places, they have soy. I can't see your profile picture. I was like, I want to see if you're a man or a woman. I'm trying to see. Okay, so you are a woman. So for women, I teach this in my program. You should be cycle syncing. If you do not know how to cycle sync, you learn more. You can learn more if you work with me. Cycle syncing is something that you should be doing on a regular because you should be eating according to your cycle. This is how you help yourself avoid estrogen dominance if you have that, or progesterone dominance if you have that as well. So, for instance, how I live my life and I don't consume soy on a regular basis, let's say that I'm in the time that I am in my right before ovulation, which is right now currently for myself. So right before my ovulation phase, this is a great time. If I were to consume any type of soy product, I can consume it now and I can consume it during my ovulation. After that, I should not be consuming it. I really don't consume anything during my ovulation time because that's the time that you should be eating more fruits and vegetables. That's just what it is, right? So I don't consume anything. I usually try to go raw during that time. But there are different times and different phases. Like I said, I break that more down in my program. There are different times that you should be able to be eating it and using it because then your estrogen is going to be low. So it can naturally raise itself without having a negative impact on your body. Estrogen dominance 1000% will cause you to have acne because estrogen dominance is a sign of inflammation. Estrogen dominance is a sign of there's something off. That's the whole point of like when you have estrogen dominance or progesterone dominance, if you have any painful menstrual cycles, PCOS, fibroids, anything like that, that's a sign that you have overload of inflammation and something is going on. How you know if you have estrogen dominance, some signs that were in me is acne, painful menstrual cycles, you having a weight fluctuation in low belly area, especially if you have a bunch of fat pockets in your lower belly issue, that is a sign of estrogen dominance. Mental fog and fatigue or something that could be a sign of estrogen dominance. I'm trying to think of what else. Intense sugar cravings can also be a sign of that. So yeah, because that's all. Like I know what I'm speaking because I somebody who was estrogen dominant since I started my menstrual cycle, and I didn't realize and I didn't know. So I thought, oh, let me take birth control. Took it for a year. Had to get actually upped because my doctor realized, oh, you're estrogen dominant. So instead of you getting all of this estrogen added in, which was making it worse, she upped my progesterone, and so that made me stop having a period. And cause more issues later on, because like I said, I was on it for a year. This was all before I went plant-based, probably around 2020, 2019-ish. And so I would never do that again. And if any women are in here that are on birth control because you don't want to have children, I'm telling you now, there are natural methods. You do not have to be on birth control. You do not need birth control. There are plenty of natural methods that don't make you toxic and make you throw off your hormonal imbalance. So if you are needing help with estrogen dominance, for sure. And that's okay that you accepted that you have that. It's okay. A lot of women don't realize that. You can work with me. We can deal with that with starting with plant-based meals and things like that. Yes, you should be having natural cycles. And I didn't understand that. And that was something that I had to come to the realization of. Your cycle should be happening and it should be normal. And normal is no pain, slightly bleeding in less than 4 days. Like, you should be 4 days is the max. You shouldn't be going 5+ days. That's hemorrhaging. That's a sign of hemorrhaging. Blood clots and going and bleeding more than 4 days is hemorrhaging. As well as the fact that if you're having painful menstrual cycles, that's a sign to tell you your menstrual cycle is directly tailored to your health. Cramps and painful menstrual cycles in general is a complete sign that you have an overload of inflammation that is not being dealt with, as well as the fact that that has been stored inside of you. And so a lot of people don't realize that. And we talked about toxicity in the beginning of this. So if you missed out on that, check it out on YouTube. It will be posted later. That toxicity that you haven't dealt with stores. If you don't know this, women store trauma in their hips. They store trauma in their pelvic area. So you have to learn how to release that, because that being released is going to help you alleviate the pain if you have any pain. And so these are things that I teach you in my program, is breaking down eating, cycle syncing, and eating for your cycle, as well as releasing all of that that tension and that pain and that trauma that's stored inside of your pelvic area, because that's where we store tension. That's just, as women, that's where we store. That's the reason why we are prone to hip issues and reproductive issues and fertility issues now, because we store so much trauma and we don't know how to release it, and nor are we taught how to release it. And so we don't eat for our menstrual cycles and eat during like the whole seasonal changes of the month, because monthly you have seasonal changes, just like the earth has seasonal changes. We are tied to the mother earth for a reason. There's a reason why there's seasonal changes, and there's a reason why your mood changes. So it's all tied together. You said I changed to plant-based when I tried to take my tonsils out due to inflammation. And how did that go for you? Did you try it? Did you stick with it? Where can I find info on your program? It is linked in my bio. The info for the program, you can get everything that I have with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. The information for that program is linked in there. If you do book a one-on-one with me and you decide after the one-on-one you would like to go into the program, just to let you know, the price for the one-on-one that you pay will be put in the difference of the total that you pay for the program. So you will have that price for the one-on-one knocked off of the price for the program. And it's a 3-month program, 12 weeks, where we break down exactly how you are able to cook your plant-based meals, understanding how to do that. You're so welcome. Also breaking down non-toxic products, your own natural medicine, and then the final weeks is sustaining the lifestyle and giving you everything that you need to be able to sustain, and breaking that down and understanding. Throughout that process, you have unlimited access to me. That's the whole point of the program, and the price point is because you have direct access to me for step-by-step help throughout that, as well as all the different things that I give you to be able to make your own medicine, make your own foods of what you desire. So if you're somebody, for instance, I had somebody here comment about lamb chops. If you're somebody who's just stuck on lamb chops and steaks, we'll figure out what you need to make for your lamb chops and your steak, where you can go to get it, things like that, because that is going to be tailored also to make your grocery list, also to do your pantry audit, to do your refrigerator audit. All of these are included in this program price. If you book a one-on-one with me, you can see on that page as well what the one-on-ones give you and offer you. It's not as detailed as the program, but it is going to help you get started. So yes, it's going good. Tonsils still swollen. Oh, so you're dealing with it right now, but it's going down. That will help you tremendously. And if you start incorporating, since you had tonsils taken out, I don't know if you, what they suggested to you to drink, but making a ginger tea is going to help your throat tremendously. And I don't really like the taste of ginger unless it was in like a Sprite form or kombucha. So what I suggest, if you want to diminish that ginger taste, put lemon. Lemon is going to knock out all the ginger taste as far as like that hard kick, and it's going to help you be able to drink the ginger tea. And then Oh, you didn't let them take it. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. You did that for you to be able to lower your inflammation. Well, that's going to help. I suggest that you stick with the lifestyle and not just make it something that's temporary for you to get your inflammation down in your tonsils, because thinking about the space of, okay, you get it down, it's going to come back if you start eating the things that made it inflamed at first. So this is not just something that you're going to do like a diet, but it's going to be a complete lifestyle change. Thank you so much for these gifts. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I really want to cycle sync and cut out the sugars. In June of this year, May, I started working towards it. June, I cut out all sugar, and it really wasn't a hard process because I set myself up for success. So if that's something that you want to learn about, cutting out all the sugar and stuff, a one-on-one will help you. But the cycle syncing is only available in the program, because that's a whole, like, we'll have, like, that will be a whole, like, call masterclass that we will have together to talk about that, because that's probably about like an hour and a half of content. One-on-ones are about One-on-ones are about an hour to 40 minutes. So yeah, that's something that we would have to break down way further, because not only would you get that, but you would get basically like a little kit of what you need to get started so that you can break everything down and write this out for yourself, because I like to map mine out based on my year, so I don't have to do this as I go. Unless my cycle decides it wants to throw itself off, then I have to fix it. But majority of the time, my cycle is pretty straightforward of the time. The only time that I get thrown off is when I go around other women. As we know, women, we sync together. So it might mess it up a couple of days, and then I have to go back and fix that or rebalance it. You said, what about women who are unhealthy, who have short menstrual cycles? Because mine is about 5 to 6 days. Your menstrual cycle is a short menstrual cycle is about a normal short menstrual cycle is 3 to 4 days. That's a balanced normal menstrual cycle. You said you still have your tonsils. You said chicken causes inflammation as well, but when I stopped eating it, I dropped 7 pounds overnight. Well, if you want to be able, you have to, that's why I said you can't just cut things out. You have to start incorporating things, and you have to find replacements. Chicken is going to feed type 2 diabetes, because it not only the inflammation, but it also literally feeds the cell that, like, the cell, I don't want to say the cell itself, but the cellular damage that diabetes causes, if that makes sense. So it feeds it, and it causes a blood sugar spike. And so that's the whole breakdown of why not the whole breakdown, but a quick breakdown of why it causes the issues that it does, and why chicken is not the best. But so many people eat chicken, and they love to say that I only eat chicken. And it's like, chicken is you have type 2, it feeds type 2 diabetes. So if you are not only, because I'm assuming since you said you dropped 7 pounds, you're not wanting to lose weight. I don't know if you want to gain weight or just maintain and manage, but there are plenty of plant-based proteins for you to be able to do that. I have somebody in my life who also went plant-based around the time that I did. And I was always on the thicker side. She was always on the slim, and then she got thick at one point, but she was slim thick. And so then when she went plant-based, she went completely slim. And it was to the point where she realized, and she looked at herself and said, like, I don't think this is healthy. She has gained more weight in the past, I think 3 to 4 months, than I have ever seen her have in I think she's about 4.5 years in, maybe, because I'm like a couple of months after her. I've seen her in this whole process, the most weight that she has had, and it's a healthy weight either. It's not even like, oh, she's overeating. It's a healthy weight, a great weight. So if you are looking for that help and that balance, I can support you in doing that, because it's not difficult. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. You just have to know what foods are going to help you be able to get that overload of protein, because when you're eating meat proteins, you don't focus on an entirety of protein. You focus on one. So, okay, you have your chicken. Okay, I have steak. You're not going to put steak and chicken together, because you know that's too much. When you have plant-based proteins, you have to combine. You're not going to focus on just eating chickpeas, because that's not going to give you enough. And so for the people that sit there and talk about how chickpeas aren't enough and quinoa's not enough, and they're talking about it in a separate basis, they don't think about a plant-based meal. A plant-based meal, you're not going to sit here and just eat chickpeas alone. You're not going to sit here and just eat the chickpeas by itself unless you're having a snack. But when you're thinking of a whole meal of its entirety, you're going to have chickpeas, you're going to have quinoa, you're going to have different vegetables, which also provide their own proteins, because a lot of people don't realize there might be a minimal amount, but they still have their own proteins. So this might be 3 or 4 different proteins that you have in this one meal, on top of the 3 or 4 different healthy fats that you might have and healthy sugars. These are balancers. This is how you help support yourself. And so if you are suffering from diabetes, like you said that you are, that Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook breaks that down. So if you want to look more into that Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook, that is also pinned and linked to my bio. Linked in my bio, it's pinned to the top of my link tree, and that's going to help you be able to understand stabilizers and plant-based foods that are going to help you be able to get those healthy proteins and not lose that weight when you're trying to cut out chicken, so that you can have those replacements that are going to support you. So what other questions do you guys have? Thank you so much for the 8.3K likes. I am so grateful. Thank you for all the gifts that you guys have given me today. I think you've exceeded how many gifts we've gotten on the live, especially this year. This is the first time this year that we definitely have exceeded that goal. I don't know about last year, but this year for sure. I think last year too, you might have exceeded that one already at the beginning of the year. That's a good look up. It's a good look. But like I said, if you have not followed me on other socials, just in case they do take TikTok away from us, we will be going live still. We'll just have to figure out where. I don't like Instagram until I figure out where we go. Like if it catches me off guard and I'm not prepared to do what I'm thinking about doing, we will be on Instagram for a short period of time. After Instagram, I'm thinking about the Purple app, if you know what that is. If not, it's TWITCH. I'm thinking about that, honestly. If not, we might just go to YouTube. We might just be live on YouTube. I don't know exactly how YouTube lives work. I have never caught any of them. So it's like, I feel like that's not going to be as productive. It's never going to be TikTok for sure. Never going to be TikTok. But we're going to try different things out just to see where we can get the community back together, because we've built a community here and I love you guys and I love being able to speak to you guys freely and actually have like open discussion and conversation with questions that aren't just statements for you to be able to try to troll or jump on me, but actual genuine questions that you're concerned about in your health. I love meeting more people that are actually concerned about their health rather than just maintaining and managing, but wanting to heal. So make sure you have a way to stay in contact. Like I said, if you are on my email list, you will know first where we're going and what we're doing. My email list also gives you access to our Wellness Wednesday email. Every Wednesday, we send out wellness tips and information about what's going on in our health and our society and everything else, giving you a rundown, letting you know what research I've done this week or whatever week or whatever I found out. As well as, when I go live, just where I am and what's going on. You get updates and plenty of different things. So what other questions do you guys have for me before I get off of here? I don't know how long I was on here, but we were on here for a little minute today. What other questions? And I really appreciate all the comments and likes. Like I said, thank you so much. We're up 9.6. Okay. I wonder if we're going to hit 10K before we get off. What other questions do we have? I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And what's today? Happy Tuesday, everyone. I didn't say that today, but happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. If it's Tuesday. Oh, there it goes. It gave me the little notification now. Now it's telling me to verify myself. That's why I said we've been on here for a little minute. I don't know how long. But now it's asking me to verify myself. What other questions do you guys have for me before we end the live? And I might find me a little snack. I don't know. I'm thinking about fasting until dinner, honestly and truly. Because I was going to do it yesterday. I was going to fast until dinner, but I knew that I wanted to cook. I made an apple pie. Oh my goodness, it was so delicious. I made an apple pie. And so I wanted to fast, but I knew that it was going to take a long time to cook. So I decided to eat yesterday. And today I think I'm going to fast because I have leftovers. So it's not like it's not going to be a quick, heat it up when I'm ready to eat. So I think I might fast until dinner. Possibly. I don't know. I might not. We'll see. We'll see what I'm feeling like when I get off. What other questions do you guys have for me? If you have any about inflammation, diabetes, insulin resistance, maybe painful menstrual cycle, if you want to know about the program, more about the program, if you want to learn about cycle syncing, anything like that, let me know. Hormone balancing. I don't know if I said that already. What other questions do you guys have for me? Thank you for the 10K likes, guys. I really appreciate it. What other questions do you have? I really hope that they don't take. I really do. Hi, it's your first time here. Welcome in. You are catching the end of the live, sadly. But if you've missed this live, like I said, all of my past lives are posted on YouTube. So thank you for these gifts. So if you did miss this live, it will be posted on YouTube and you can check out all the other ones. Every Tuesday and Thursday I post. So I usually schedule them out ahead of time if I have lives scheduled out from past lives from ahead of time. And I think we do have all of them scheduled for this week. So check out those if you missed those, since you said you are new here. I have a Purge the Poison playlist as well as a plant-based mastery, which all of my playlists, all of the free content that I give you here on TikTok, on YouTube, can help you be able to get started developing these healthy habits that you need. But if you are ready for that one-on-one guidance and that support, and you know that not only you want to be able to be held accountable, but actually it's like walk step by step so you have support and it's simplified, that's what working with me will get you. The simplification as well as having a guide. Because I walked into this lifestyle not having a guide, just doing it because nobody else has done this, and I know that's going to help me because I asked the Most High, and this is where he put me and he showed me. And I had a lot of struggles in the first 3 months, but I can tell you from those first 3 months of those struggles, it was worth every single bit. But I can help people not have to go through those struggles and help them by walking them step by step and simplifying the process. And that's what I do for yourself. She said, hi from Houston, first time here also. Hi, Kay. Welcome. Cool beans. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Any more questions for me? Any more questions, guys? Thanks for the follows. I'm so happy we have newcomers coming in. Like I said, if you have not followed me on other socials, just in case they take TikTok, we will be other places. If I'm not prepared for where I want to go, we will be on, not YouTube, goodness. We will be on Instagram for a short period of time. It won't be for long, but we'll be on Instagram because, like I said, I don't like Instagram, even though it says it notifies everybody when I'm going live. I have over 100 people on Instagram that have come from TikTok, and yet somehow nobody ever sees when I go live until afterwards. So I don't like it. Do you eat according to your blood type, or are you just letting me know your blood type? Because I've talked about blood type eating beforehand, and to sum it all up, if you want to know more, you can go check it out. I have, what is it called? I have past lives on YouTube, goodness, and I have videos here on TikTok, but I don't know if you eat for your blood type, but I have talked about the fact that eating for your blood type is not necessary if everybody's body functions the same on fruits and vegetables. As far as you know, that fruits and vegetables not only give you nourishment and everything that you need, but it also helps you flush, and then it supports your body in rebalancing and healing. What does your blood type have to factor into that? Not saying anything against you, but I had a woman who came in here that was talking about she eats for her blood type and was talking about how she eats plant-based, but then flipped around and told me that she also eats fish. So I was like, well, you don't eat plant-based if you eat fish. And she got really offended by me telling her the same fact that I just told you. And so I told her, like, the same thing I tell everybody, like, you don't have to eat for your blood type if you're eating correctly. And she got offended and she blocked me. So I'm not for everybody, and I accept that and I enjoy that. I'm okay with that. So I just state the obvious, and it's not obvious to everybody because common sense ain't common in everybody's home, but I try to make the connection so everybody can understand and it can be simplified. So what other questions do you have for me? What are the questions? If you're struggling with plant-based, and you want to learn how to cook plant-based meals, if you're a beginner, I do have a beginner guide, as well as if you're dealing with diabetes. That diabetes book is going to be deeper than just diabetes, but helping with inflammation overall and insulin resistance. So I do have cookbooks that will support you. And if you are looking for step-by-step assistance and guidance into transitioning to plant-based and you're starting out, booking a one-on-one with me will definitely support you through that, because I'll be able to help you do a pantry and a refrigerator audit and give you a grocery list, and then help you be able to give you everything that you need to cook. Like, let's say you want to cook steak, you want to cook chicken or whatever, be able to give you everything that you need to be mapped out for you to be able to do that for yourself. Okay, what other questions do you guys have for me before I get off? Do you have any questions? I'll give you like 1 more minute of my time. 1 more minute. What questions do you guys have? People are getting home, they're starting to walk their dogs and stuff because they're looking. Thank you for liking up the live, guys. I really appreciate it for the 10.5K likes. Thank you. I think we're going to start going live around this time during the day, because I don't know though, because it's so iffy. It's like I'll go live around between 12:30 all the way to like 2:30ish. And then it's like when I hit around like 1:30 to 2, sometimes people come in like how they are now. And then sometimes I don't have barely anybody coming in. So it makes no sense. My YouTube is some kind of natural, the same as here. And if you can't find it just by like searching it, it is linked. It's pinned to my bio. It's not pinned to my bio, like it's in my link tree, and it's in my thing where you click, you click the arrow and it has like the Instagram, maybe it's the Instagram symbol, it might be the YouTube symbol, but they're both there. If you click the Instagram symbol, they're both tagged. You just have to click it. And if you can't find it, it is in my link tree, which is in my bio. So all my socials are there. What other questions do you have? Oh, Dion said, hey, what did I miss? You missed the whole entire live. We are at the end. We talked about insulin resistance. We talked about inflammation. We talked about diabetes. Like I said, all of my past lives are posted on YouTube, so you can check that out. Okay, well, now she's barking. You can check that out. So since you missed this live, I don't know if it'll be posted this week, but if it's not posted this week on Thursday, it will be posted next week on Tuesday. But all the past lives are going to help you as well, because we've been talking about diabetes for about a month and a half now. So, okay. Happy to help. Do you guys have any more questions for me? If not, I'm going to hop off. I hope you all have an amazing Tuesday. Like I said, if you need help with anything, if any links are not working, or if you don't see anything that you had any questions about that I mentioned in here, please feel free to DM me, even if you don't have any questions about any products or services, but you have any issues internally or externally that you have any questions about healing. DM me. My DMs are always open. They're never a time where I won't try to help you as best as I can. If I have a product or service that I can refer you to, I will. But we have been talking about inflammation. I have a lot of people that DM me and have been DMing me about inflammation, and I just posted a TikTok video. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. It wasn't really pushed out as well as it should have been, because it's only got like 100 or something views, but that is going to help you be able to understand inflammation, even though it's talking about allergies, because it's labeled as allergies, it's talking about inflammation. And so even if you're not suffering from allergies, it's going to help you break down inflammation and understanding how to start tackling it. So I'm not seeing any more questions, so I am going to hop off. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. We will be back either tomorrow or Friday, because I usually don't come on Thursdays, but we might be on Thursday. You'll never know. I don't know. It's sporadic. I usually try to come on multiple times. But like I said, if you have not signed up for my email list, go ahead and do that, because then you'll know when we go live. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And peace, y'all. I am out.